What are the darkest secrets being whispered in your home right now? Do these secrets date back centuries, or are they recent events? Sometimes these secrets are best left buried in the past. However, sometimes these secrets have a way of rearing their ugly heads, reminding us that no matter how far we run, some horrors always catch up to us. Welcome back, everyone. Here today, I want to talk about the mysteries of Glamis Castle. But before I begin, I would appreciate if you could support my work. The 14th century brought forth one of Scotland's most powerful families, the Bows. This family would rise through the ranks to become earls and then dukes. They would hold this title for almost 300 years. And during this time they built a number of castles, one of which was the Glamis Castle. This would be built between 1376 and 1398, and is still standing to this day. It has been renovated throughout the years, but its foundation remains that of the 14th century. The castle was built to impress with 52 apartments, a great hall, and 2 massive towers, but it also served as a functional fortress. This was important because the border between Scotland and England was not peaceful at the time. Now, let's take a look inside. While the castle is still inhabited, photos from when it was empty give us a better idea of what life might have been like here. In the Great Hall, we see stone pillars with elaborate carvings on them. The room itself is rather empty, but we can imagine the long wooden tables filled with people of all social ranks eating and talking amongst themselves. There is also the throne where the higher UPS would sit and watch over their subjects. Overall, the Great Hall gives off the impression of a grand room that was meant to be admired. This is made even more impressive when we go up to the second floor and look down onto it. We can see just how tall the ceilings were and how much room there really was in this area. You could fit multiple large rooms in here, but not every part of the castle was so pleasant. In the southeast tower, we find the room that will become known as the Monster's Close. This room is small and dark. It's used mostly for storage nowadays. However, it is rumored to be haunted by the ghost of a deformed child who lived in this room. But we'll get back to that later. By 1605, the title of Earl of Angus passed to John Bowes, 1st Earl of Angus. He would hold many titles over his lifetime, but he would become most famous for marrying Lady Jane Bowes. That might sound confusing, since Lady Jane Bowes was also his sister. Well, it was quite common for first cousins to marry back in the day, so it wasn't too frowned upon. Their marriage would produce 3 sons and 4 daughters, but only one son would survive past childhood. His name was James Bowes, also known as the Monster of Glamis. As a child, James was fine, but around the age of 10, he became very ill. Some say that he contracted smallpox, while others say it was tuberculosis. Whatever it was, it greatly affected his body. His arms and legs grew longer than usual, making him appear hunchbacked. Because of this, the locals started calling him the Monster of Glamis, and when he died at the age of 31, his parents decided to keep his death a secret. Why? Well, because it was believed that if the people knew there was a monster living in Glamis Castle, they would attack the castle and kill the family. This is why the Monster's Close gets its name. It was said that the young man was kept in this room for most of his life. He likely suffered from depression, anxiety, and other conditions that come with being isolated from society. However, he may have had other conditions that were caused by his illness. When he passed away, his body began to rot, but his parents kept it hidden. After a while, the smell began to grow stronger and stronger until it couldn't be contained. Eventually, the servants found his body and reported it to the king. King James VI sent men to investigate, but they found nothing. However, rumors began to spread of a terrible stench coming from the castle. Even Lady Jane despises her husband for keeping such a horrible secret. She fled to London and eventually became one of King James VI's mistresses. Fast forward to 1834, and we meet George Lisle, a lawyer and author. He visited Glamis Castle and wrote down everything he learned about the castle and its inhabitants. This would later be published as the Scottish Gallividian and Cyclopedia. It was in here that the story of the monster of Glamis was told, though the public didn't really care at first. It would be almost another 100 years before the public became fascinated with this gruesome tale. In 1935, the castle was purchased by the Bose family. They would renovate it and turn it into a tourist attraction. Naturally, the story of the monster of Glamis was brought up, and the new owners decided to play into it. They created a display in the monster's clothes, complete with a wax figure of the man himself. While it's fun to visit and learn about this supposed monster, think of how disturbing it would be if someone broke into the castle and saw this grotesque figure in a pitch-black room. Not exactly the stuff of nightmares. After touring the castle, many people report feeling uneasy or uncomfortable. Some even report seeing a shadow figure walking around the top floor. Could this be the monster of Glamis? Or is it simply the minds of overactive imaginations running wild? It's hard to tell, but it doesn't stop there. While staying in one of the castle's bedrooms, guests report hearing chains dragging metal moans. Again, these are likely the sounds of an overactive imagination, but they've also been caught on tape. These audio recordings have been investigated, and it seems as if the sounds are not of this world. Other paranormal investigators claim that cameras have picked up orbs of light moving around the bedroom on their own. To add to this, a cold spot has been measured in the middle of the room. This leads many to believe that a spirit lingers here. But what about the origins of the castle itself? Did the site have any previous buildings on it before the 14th century? What did they do with the old foundations once they began building the castle? In 2008, a dig was performed by archaeologists, and what they found was shocking. They discovered a wall that dated back to the Iron Age. This means that people had been living on this site for almost 2,000 years. However, it was not until the 14th century that the castle was built. This begs the question, what happened to the rest of the town? Where did everyone go? Were they simply wiped out by whatever force? Or did they move when they realized how dangerous the location was? The castle was built on a hill, which would have been perfect for building a home. But it was also near the Anglo-Scottish border. This meant that it was often attacked by rival forces. They could easily sneak up on anyone living on the hill and destroy their homes. So while it's a beautiful place to build, it was also a dangerous one. The people living here would have had to be prepared for battle at all times. But that's just the theory. We don't know what happened to the rest of the town. If any of it ever existed in the first place, we do know that the castle was never finished. It was abandoned in the 1700s, leaving it open to the elements. Over time, vines and trees grew up the side of the castle, covering it in greenery. This made it look eerie and mysterious, which inspired artists to come and paint the castle. But it wouldn't be until 1934 that the castle was bought and restored to its former glory. Nowadays, it's still inhabited, but the residents are careful not to disturb the spirits that might be lingering around. After all, you never know what kind of trouble a ghost could cause. What do you think? Is the castle haunted? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks again, and see you next time.